Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Hello, and welcome to A Jew Today with Israel Forever, because I am talking with Itamar חיון, who is a Mילואימניק, a reserve soldier in the Israel Defense Forces, and I emphasize that because everyone in the world must always remember that the IDF, Tzahal, has one purpose, and that is to defend Israel and the Jewish rights for everyone in the land and all over the world. It has been an incredible honor to be able to meet Itamar randomly through an Instagram ad for one of the amazing projects that Itamar does. And it was just Hashem bringing us together, getting an opportunity to meet a young Israeli like yourself with such rich experience and a wide breadth of interest and passion. Welcome, and thank you so much for being with me.
Wow, Ilana, thank you very much. And it's really, really exciting to meet you. And I think also that Hashem brings us together to do wonderful things to our wonderful Jewish community in all over the world. And I'm really, really glad that, to talk with you, to work with you, to meet with you. Every time it's exciting. Thank you.
We have learned a lot together. We every conversation has been so rich. It takes, endless time to just digest it even afterwards of, wow, we have dissected number of issues, both in person on our own and actually on site, because I had the tremendous honor of being walked through Nahal Oz base with you, where you really changed my life in a way. And I've been through these experiences in my, becoming Israeli over my 20 years here. And that was a fundamental one, to stand on that ground, to be there, to witness and hear from you and your fellow soldiers the story of what took place in this battle at Nahal Oz. I can tell you that it affected me. I'd love it if you could share with us a little bit about where you were on October 7th and how you found yourself to be in the, if I'm not mistaken, your fourth turn of reserve duty. You said, yes, your fourth turn of reserve duty in Gaza, on the edge of Gaza, there on the blood-soaked ground of Nahal Oz. Itamar, tell us a little bit about what you've been through since October 7th, 2023.
First of all, on October 7th, I've been with my father. We've been in the villa in the north. We just celebrating his birthday with the grandkids and my sister and the whole family. And we wake up in the Saturday morning and we start seeing the first news. And then we understand that something really, really big happening. So we took our stuff from the north and we start going to Haifa. I took my child and I bring him to my ex-wife and starting prepare my stuff and go to the base. Go to the base.
Straight away.
Yeah, we didn't get like a message or a call. You need to go, but that's one of the problem that happened, that we waiting so much that someone will call us, and then just the next day after in the morning we came there and we started look for a terrorist, for מחבלים that stay in the area. But I want to say something before we go after to 23 or 24, that when I was in Nahal Oz, when I was 18 years old, today I'm 2 years old. I remember that 3 years I was there, all the area, and we was hearing the tunnels that they, the terrorists, I don't know how to say it in English, but we heard it working on the tunnels, okay? You hear the ground just jumping, and you tell us, like the Tatzpitaniyot said, that they hear them train, the Hamas train. That's what we said, but that's the problem, that nothing was happened. And then the October 7 happened.
So, but first of all, you're saying that you've reported this, but there has been, since the new released report about the Battle of Nahal Oz, that, they were not listened to because they were young women. But actually what you're saying is that for many years, this concepcia, this perspective of that has dominated the military mentality and the approach to Hamas was ingrained. You're a young man, you're hearing it, and they also weren't listening to you. You were just casting it aside.
Yeah, the problem in the military and the army, as you know, it's that you can't go to the higher commander and just talk with him. You need to go to your commander, and he need to go to his commander, and he need to go to his commander. And then sometimes stuff just fall down. No one take care of it, or they know about it, but they're waiting that something else gonna happen. Because our Jewish history, it's a big problem because they're trying to kill us for the entire history. It's not something new. It's just 2023 is like the Holocaust that happened to us, and before the Holocaust happened to us something else, and before that something else happened to us. So we need to know our history and to understand how strong we have to be no matter what happened.
Yes, but it comes at the expense of being always told that we're paranoid, that we are unnecessarily militarily focused, that we are the demons and we are the bad guys. And we've now seen it on the silver screen stage with the new, recognition of all of this at the BBC, at the Oscars, you name it. There's a film that demonizes Israeli soldiers. You are the bad guys. And so therefore, this concepcia is based on the idea, this perspective, I guess is there really a good translation for that word, that nothing major is going to happen. And so we can just let it go. We can ignore it. But if you do the opposite, you're overly protective. And the fear is that military state accusation. I mean, how do you as a soldier balance between these two realities?
Yeah. I think, first of all, the big problem is when you ignore something, when you think it's going to disappear, it's not going to disappear. It's just going to explode in your face. And that's what happened. And I think in the end, like we talked before, we are the guard of Israel. The lo yanum velo yishan shomer Israel. We took the responsibility to keep our borders, to keep lives of people, and when we have problems that we don't want to talk about politics and government kind of stuff, but when they stop you instead of going to attack, when there is a problem, so the problem is getting bigger, and then they're gonna attack you when you don't notice on Saturday morning, on your holiday, like happened in the history. It's not something new. So we know that, and it's a shame, shame for us. We so care about people, and we have to learn from this and just getting stronger. We don't have any choice. We don't have any.
And I think,
yeah.
I think that the problem is also twofold. On one hand, it's how do we deal with that shame? How do we deal with the fact that we shamefully were humiliated and now it continues with the release of the reports to completely show the inept situation that we were in without anyone really knowing or frankly caring that this was the reality of the security. And you're saying that it was for many years, and we've heard from others that it's also been for decades. And we know that it's for decades on the northern border as well, also continuously being ignored. And so it's how do we deal with the shame, and how do we deal with maybe the fear of what that means for us of, well, who do we trust? On one hand, people are saying the government puts these police situations in place. Is it the government? Is it the army? How do we point fingers of blame? That's not the goal, but how do we point a finger of direction for how we prevent this the next time?
Yeah. How to prevent it? It's a hard question because, like we said, we have our history, it's happened in the histories for decades, for the last 100,000 years. So no one can protect it, I think, instead of to complete the thing that I think it's still gonna happen, the next 50 years, 100 years. I hope no, of course not. We want peace and we want to live like this. Okay. But you see what happened. You see that people murder and attacked and did so many stuff that I saw in my eyes, unfortunately, in the first days over there, and it's terrible. It's really terrible because this stuff that they did, it's stuff that I think the people did like 100 years ago. It's never happened in the it's never happened like this. Even if
and then they celebrate it. And there you are in Gaza, surrounded by the people who celebrate it. Yeah. You're in this situation. How do you get through that? How do you, in your own mind, how do you cope with this? You're amongst people who celebrate such bestial behavior and a bestial mentality. I know that many soldiers have uncovered terrible books, and the Mein Kampf in Arabic being just one of the many examples of how they demonize Jews. The events that happen in history, they also have other patterns involved, and how we teach our children is one of them. So how is that for you as a soldier in terms of coping with everything that you saw?
So I'm saying right now, after more than the 250 days that, I given in the Mילואים, like you said, the fourth round, every time it's hard to go back, okay, to put your weapons, to get your uniform, to go and to deal with stuff. A sniper shot me like a meter from me, and it's hard. I lost friends on the battle. So people asking me how you keep going to come, how you keep going. You don't have to. But the problem is that if I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna take care of only for myself, so nothing is gonna be safe. My business is not gonna be safe. My children is not gonna be safe. My family is not gonna be safe. We have to take care of the security. Security, it's first of all for our nation, for the Jewish nation. Then it's my family. Then it's my son. Then it's my business. But security, it's something that our generation, the people is the 30 years old, 35, 25, I'm talking right now, the man and the woman that go to be warriors, they need to take the responsible and keep the borders, keep the ground, be there, show the security. And again, if it's going to happen again, I hope that they're going to have more, they're going to lose again. We have to keep ourselves.
Well, we know that they keep planning it again and again. The instructions for an October 7th style attack in Judea and Samaria have been exposed. We have the number of attempted attacks is growing every day. How is it that a common person can feel that same confidence? Like, even if I look at every soldier and I chamsa, 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 give them a bracha every time. And my children also, thank you, toda, thank you for your service. And, it's an amazing feeling to see these young men and women. But there's kind of a disbelief that the leadership allowed so many failures, one after the other, in every level above the common soldier. And how do we cope with that? How do you cope with that? What are we supposed to think as we move into what looks like a continuation of this war?
Yeah, the war will never stop, and they keep it's never stopped. They keep fighting, and they do they're getting weaponed, and I don't want to say they're getting stronger, but they're in the tunnel. Okay, and it's really hard to get there without get any friends. They're dying. It's you're fighting in a terrorist. You're fighting in an organization that still get money from another Arabic families. In Lebanon or in Qatar or in Iran or in other places. They get knowledge. They get money. They get people. They get everything to kill the Jewish people. How are we gonna get peace? We need to be. We need. It's a little bit hard for me to explain it in English, but we have to be patient and showing to the world how they can help us to figure out this thing, and also the world in Europe and in other countries right now they understand what is it the Islam and what they're doing, and I think Germany they have a problem, really problem. French they have a problem, and it's not only Israel.
And the United States now.
In United States
now.
they have a
And
really
it's been,
problem.
but dissect this with me. What do you mean? When you're saying to me, you're fighting a terrorist, let's move to the individual instead of just the organization. People don't really know what that means. They're not fighting in the tunnels in Gaza. They don't know what that means. And so when we say fighting a terrorist, you're talking about somebody who, because of all that money, is willing to die. He does not care as long as he kills you.
Yeah, they don't care about it. They talking with the children. I saw it because when we get into Gaza in the first time, we saw the books, when they go to school, and we saw in the book what they say about how Palestine have to grow up, how the Jewish people what they did to us. They learned the children the history that never happened. That's the story that they want to tell them, but that's the story that really happened. I don't think so, because I saw you talking with people. I saw the people from Gaza. If they really want to work and really want to peace, it's one thing. But then they're doing another thing that they like to lie. That's what they're doing for a living. They're lying to each other. They're lying to Jewish people. They like it work. It's just, I think it's education from the beginning of generation, that it's taking really time to fix that. It's how.
And you felt this. You were face to face with the people and feeling this while you were there. Is there something that you can remember from an encounter that you had? Because we've heard that many of the hostages, Mia Shem had shared and Larry Albag had shared these two prominent statements that have been everywhere in social media, of how there is not one innocent civilian there. There is not one person. These people who were offered $5 million just to be able to bring a hostage live home. And there was, during the Holocaust, there were Germans even who were righteous among the nations and tried to save Jews. But from Gaza, there was not one individual who attempted to save the life of any of the hostages. And that's an impossible thing for many people to wrap their minds around. So you standing there and you're with these people who hate you. They are in. Could you tell me, are there innocent civilians that are there that you would, say they have a hope to live side by side in peace with Jews?
It's a hard question, because when you talk with someone, and I am telling you, I grew up over here in Israel with Arabic, okay? I saw them since they've been in my school. I have a friend, Bedouin people. They can say one thing, and then let's say, for example, one of his family gonna say, come help me to do something terrorist or something illegal. They will say, yeah, come, I will help you. But they will say something else, and that's not right, because in a second they will change the situation. They will change the mind, and sometimes they don't understand what they're doing. Okay, let's just shoot this rocket. Just come help me for a second. But where going this rocket? Where is going? It's hurting in another family in Israel, and I think that we have to change the education. I think in the end, education it's everything. It's everything. They get in decision in a second. They can say something and they do another thing without understanding what they're doing, and sometimes they don't do it because they're bad people, because just doing stupid things of children.
Israelis are not all as aware of some of what's happening in the diaspora world of anti-Semitism, with the rallies going on and the encampments on campuses, the harassment. That too stems from a poor education on one hand, because they can't, clearly these people cannot distinguish between good and evil. And on the other hand, it actually shows that these propaganda masters are able to create a form of education that literally brainwashes all learners. So it's true in Gaza, it's true in Judea and Samaria. It's true in some schools, even, I've heard rumors of some schools in Israel even where you've got issues of very far left-wing movements that have school systems where they're also teaching extremism, because that happens. But it's a smaller element. But here you have a whole society. Take it to the United States. London and Europe is very different, because you're talking about those populations being highly targeted by what I call, jihad by immigration. And that is on its way. But the United States is a little different. They have actually successfully brainwashed whole elements of society, and not just on the college campuses, but in the workplaces, in elementary schools, in the public civic systems. And that, what is it about their education system that is so effective, and how do we shift it? How do you re-educate people who their only source of existence is the dream of killing Jews and destroying Israel?
Yeah, Qatar did a horrible thing with a lot of money for long years. And if you take a lot of money, if you're doing education and you're just telling a story, and after a year, after 5 years, after 10 years, people start believing to the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you need to go back again. You need to go back to your history. The people that, instead of going watching the news or go to the social media, just go and really look for the history. What really happened? What really happened 100 years ago?
Well, unfortunately, all of the history pages, even on the internet, have all been co-opted by propagandists. You can't even turn to Wikipedia and get an honest answer, because they have infiltrated every possible platform. And it's just impossible. So, that's what we try to do, of course, provide direct information. We're huge fans of somebody I really admire, Mitchell Bard, created the Jewish Virtual Library. And I think that eventually we see that just like we need to have Jewish defense and Israel Defense Forces, we need to have our own libraries, and we need to have our own education systems, because it's going to continue to be difficult to cope with the amount of misinformation. So I have a question for you, and how that plays out amongst soldiers yourselves, because you come together with fellow soldiers who are from all different walks of life, and all different backgrounds, and all different political leanings. So in essence, you all have your own education, your own background you're coming with. How does that play out as the war continues? We heard that at the beginning of the war, unity amongst the soldiers was so high and it was so intense. Does that remain true? How do you guys cope with different styles of learning and understanding and opinions? And how do you keep going in your fight?
So it's a good question, because when we grow up, our family, my mom, my dad, they grew up with the values. Okay, values to love your country, to love the people, to give. Okay, and never lie. Some stuff, good stuff. Then you grow up. Now, when you're in school, when you have the people around you, then in the end, if you have a terrorist around you all the time, you will be terrorist no matter what. Okay, because this is I forgot how to say it in English, but this is this is the people around you. So when you grow up, I grew up in Haifa, for example. Okay, I saw my brother went to the army. My father been in the army. I heard story about it, and so you understand that you have you have again the responsibility to do another stuff, to keep going with the Jewish people, no matter what happened, no matter how hard it is, how shame we've been in October 7, how many people be killed. You have to keep going. You don't have any choice, because if you're gonna stop and put your hands in the air, they will kill you. They will shot you. Nothing will change. I think a lot of my friends also, they also believe they believe that we don't have any choice because you don't have any country. You don't have any country. You can't just go from Alabama to Mississippi, or from Mississippi to New York. You can't. You have to stay in one country, and that's what you have. And I be in US, okay? I saw also over there the Arabic people, and I saw the energy, and I felt it. I felt, as a Jewish people, I felt sometimes lonely, okay? I say this is not the land that I want to be there. I don't have my community. I don't have the people that I'm talking with them. I don't speak Hebrew. I speak another language. I feel a little bit only me, yes? I don't say to another people. I feel a little bit fake with myself. Okay, it's hard to feel fake it with yourself, because you need to live like that for the rest of your life. So I said to myself, no matter what opportunity I have over here, or money that over there, it's much more easier to make, because here it's much more expensive. I say, okay, I want to live here. I want to grow up my children here, because this is the Jewish country that over here they speak with the same language. I feel safe here more than I was feel there.
I can understand that. So you think that the fellow soldiers that you're with, that's what kind of carries you onward, that you have this shared destiny of being a part of the protection, that history, yes, it's going to repeat itself, but we don't have to handle each situation by, as you said, just, להרים ידיים, to raise our hands and say, oh, well, there's another great line that we always have to remember, lo alecha hamlacha ligmor. It's not up to you to finish the job, but it is not your right to desist from it, to say it's not my job at all. And having people, do you ever think, like you mentioned feeling lonely, and I was so lonely in my life in America. I really was. And I lived a little bit here in Colorado and Boston, and I was always lonely. I knew when I was 13 years old and came to Israel for the first time, this was my home. And, it took me a long time to make my aliyah. And I've been in Israel now 20 years. So it feels great. Yes, we still feel American even after, but that's okay, because my loneliness is not the same as a Jew. I think that that's also something that the army provides. Do you ever wish that there were more diaspora Jews who were joining the army to join you in your fight, your this need that we need to protect? And you've met many lone soldiers, I know. Do you think that more Jews should be joining the IDF?
I think that whoever wants, he needs to come. Okay, no one you need to take you and say, hey, you need to go to the military, you need to go to the army. No. Like I said, I grew up when I saw a picture of my father as a warrior. I saw my big brother. Okay, and when I came to the age of 18, I say I want to. Okay, if you don't want to go to school, and you push something to go to school, he gonna destroy everyone, the whole class. And my team, the people that with me since 18 years old, okay, until now, think about it. It's 14 years of people that want to come and still want to come. And that's the people. And if you have something calling you inside of you and say, I want to come to Israel, I want to go to the military, I want to do something to another people, you should do that. And if you're not going to do that, you're just going to ignoring something in yourself. And then after a month, after a year, after 10 years, you will do that, because you need to live with yourself. So you have to do whatever is calling you inside of you.
I think that calling doesn't exist for most, unfortunately, because, you've got to give up a lot of that easy life, as you described it. The life in America, things are, easier in some ways, but not so much anymore. And I really do pray that sometimes that that is a reaction for many people, that post October 7th, we not only see an influx of new activists, but actually coming and being a part of the system here of what we need to keep ourselves strong. I mean, keeping ourselves strong is an ongoing, moment to moment, day to day reality and struggle. I mean, I saw your face as you say you're facing a terrorist and you stop. And I can identify in your breath that you took that you likely have this mental association of a moment that hit you right then. And it moved me. I saw it and I think, wow, what kind of coping mechanisms I've had to create since October 7th as a single mom living in the mountains, and my fears, and I have them all the time. Okay. Big noises, things, we all have them. But what you experience and what you must cope with, how would you describe it to an outsider who is just trying to understand, wow, what has it been like for you?
Wow. It's tools that we get since we go to the military when we were 18 years old. Okay, day after day, a week after day, a month after month, and a year after year, we get tools. And these tools, like I said in the beginning, and I wrote it also in the new book. It's to know your why and to understand in this thing, to know your history, and then you can know where you're going. To be with your friends, okay, with your friends, like I've been with my friends since they get from 18. They give me also power when I'm sometimes it's hard for me. I have friends that with me, shoulder next to shoulder, like we said it in Hebrew. And you need also, you need to believe. You have to believe. You have to believe no matter what, that you need to think good. You need to see the good in anything that happened to you. And thousands of things happen to us any moment. You need to get a decision. You need to know how to breathe. You know how to be in your control with your body and with your mind. And it's stuff that we learned. It's not like something in TikTok when you get in a second the knowledge. It's something that you need to learn, and then you just need to do it day after day, week after week. And then you start to see the change in your life. And I'm telling you, the warrior mindset, the thing that how we act, like I said, after the fourth round, after 14 years that we give to our country, I think it's the most important thing that Jewish, the people that also in US, they feel lonely. They feel that they don't know how to act and what to do. They need tools. When you have tools, you can keep growing. That's what we want to do. And I think that the tools that we get, it's really, really powerful thing it's for the rest of your life, even it's personal life or business life, everything that you want to do, you need your tools.
Well, that is exactly what I've spent my life dedicated to, which is providing tools for the common person, the every Jew, as I call us, that tools that can be used day to day in their real life, whether it be something as simple as a craft or a recipe or a story to read or something new that they can take on for themselves as a part of their ongoing survival. It is indeed in your situations that you've been experiencing on October 7th and since, it is what I've called momentary survival. And we who are living outside the front lines of war, we have a different type of survival, and those tools help us stay above the moment. They help us move forward, control time a little, shape that time so that we can be always strengthened in every effort that we make. And I think that's actually what brought you and I together at the beginning. We have such a similar approach. And, anyone who has a why to live for and can survive anyhow. And that is the famous statement by the world-renowned Holocaust survivor, Viktor Frankl, who I have long researched throughout my life. And of course, the many lessons of my mentor, Elie Wiesel, stay with me as a part of how I have learned coping mechanisms. So that's my education. You've had the benefit of an education that, frankly, I'm actually jealous of. I always wanted to serve in the Army. Always. I feel like that's been my destiny now. I serve the army of the Jewish people, but not necessarily did I get to serve the Israeli army. But I love when I get invited on rare occasion. I get to speak with units who want to do a learning session with me and to talk about things. So I do get my glimpse, but what you've received and what you've channeled, you've really done it in a very passionate way, channeling what you call the warrior mindset into an empowerment resource, a resilience building resource. I'm really excited to share with our global community the opportunity to learn about warrior mindset. So this is a part of our Israel Strong programming partnership. And Itamar, who is an expert in these types of training, why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is so that we can invite our community to join us in our next webinar for one-on-one with you, where they're able to have a virtual conversation, talking with you, getting some tips, and then perhaps being eligible to join you for a private course in June. Tell us a little bit about how you've channeled your experience, your education, and your heart into warrior mindset.
Yeah. Like you said, people, I can't bring everyone to the army. Okay. Not everyone also want to, but like we said, there is stuff that in a tough moment, we have to understand our Jewish power inside of us. Okay. If someone can attack us, if someone can write to us something, I don't know, on Facebook, and we take it to our heart, sometimes we get pressure. You know, we have to, day after day, we have things that we need to know how to control ourselves. And I think that's something that I really want to do, like to take my experience the last 14 years and just give us maybe in a, like you say, one-on-one, maybe in a course once in a week, just help and give the knowledge, to help the people that they have their problem, they have their situation, and help them to figure out how to make their life better, much more happier, more control, just with the warrior mindset, with the stuff that we learned, that you can't just go to the military and go and spend over there a few years. Let's save these years and let me give you the knowledge from there, and just put it inside your life, start working with this, okay? And if you need also more stuff, just we can talk and help you, and then you can just grow up, okay? That's the target, that people will grow out and be more power to another Jewish in the world, okay? And I think it can really be really good. This the working together, it's incredible.
And I think it's important to give people these opportunities virtually, because not everybody is going to get up and go to they're not going to offer programs like this at every gym, and they're not going to, or community center or anything, whether it's the physical empowerment and the mental empowerment. Not everybody wants to have to fit it into their day-to-day. And some people, as I've learned, are actually afraid to come to these kinds of classes. So we're going to be offering a webinar on warrior mindset. So keep an eye out and join us. Make sure you RSVP at israelforever.org, and join us on Instagram and on Facebook. Stay in tune with the many opportunities that we try to provide for all of our virtual citizens of Israel. That's what each one of the Jews and even friends of the Jews around the world really are. We, by birthright, own this connection. Now we have to actualize it. And I love, Itamar, how you have Jewish identity is like woven into your whole growth. Your whole approach is, I sometimes think when I light Shabbat candles, I'm like a Jewish woman in the mountains of Judea 2,000 years ago, lighting candles probably on this very hill, right? And, because I live in an area with a lot of ancient ruins, and I'm always thinking about how we're living that same life. And that's why history can come it can come to each person in a unique way as having meaning, even building our mental resilience. Because how did they survive it then? How are we going to survive it now? It really requires having strong spirit and being what we call Israel strong, because that's what it is.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
And the
Yeah.
mental power, I think it's gonna, I believe that 80% from the war, it's mental. Okay. That's what how I see it. It's really, really have to, you have to give tools to yourself and working on that. And I saw some people that just was afraid and they react, not they should be react. And they just, I hope that people can listen over here. They will react in a different way when they're going to get the right tools.
That's interesting. I've shared with you that one of my reaction controls is a problem that I hear a story sometimes that you'll tell me, or being with you on the base, and it's like, I can't help but cry. I can't help but cry. And so somebody said to me, you have to, control that urge. You have to, and I feel to myself, no, maybe that's actually the okay response because I'm immersed in something and I'm giving it my heart. How about you share with us maybe just a story of your experience of the last, something that you've gained, a story that our listeners, our learners can take with them until they meet us again? What would be a story or a lesson with your friends in Gaza, something that you feel gives our listeners an oomph of inspiration as they wait for the next time?
Okay, so first of all, I have so many stories, but one of them that's calling me right now to tell it, and I think we talk about it. It's before we get into Gaza in the first time. Okay, we have 3 weeks that we just get prepared. We get prepared with our equipment, our weapons. We did a lot of stuff. Every day we just get prepared until they're gonna say, okay, today you need to take your bag, your weapon, just walking into Gaza. Today it's the day. And I think it's in these 3 weeks, I learned so much stuff on myself. I really, really like to watching people, how they work and how they react, how, to also not to look only on myself, to look to another people. And one of my friend, he watching a lot of the news. He was watching a lot of the videos that the terrorists, in the beginning, they sending a lot horrible thing that our eyes should never see. He was talking with people that been in a Tzuk 10 years ago. Okay. So they told also a story that he is afraid. And one of my friend on these 3 weeks, a few days before we get in, he say, I'm sorry guys, but I can't get in with you. I'm really, really sorry. I love you. I can't. And of course, we hug him. We give him everything that he needs because we understand that it's something that is more powerful from them. Because when you're watching all the videos, when you're talking with people when being a war 10 years ago, and you right now go into a war, when you in your mind, you have thoughts and they have sometimes you don't know how to control it. So then you getting lost. Okay. And that's something that's really, really hard for me to see one of my friend getting lost, because he did it to himself with a video and with the talking and with everything. Today, he's really, really fine. He's amazing. He's learning in the university. He's going to get married soon. But you have sometimes, like, let's say a windows when you decision to go to one place and you decision to go to another place. And sometimes you take in the window that you tell to yourself a story that maybe it's not the real story. Maybe it's a story that your thoughts did to yourself because you decided to watch all these videos. So I think it's we can talk about so many stories and to understand and learning from there. But it's something that we need to control ourselves.
Wow. Wow. First of all, I cannot imagine how much bravery he had to have to stand in front of you all and make that decision. And I think there is sometimes bravery in learning to walk away. And some of the students that I've mentored facing anti-Semitism, sometimes at school, but also in the workplace, there is often the question of, when do I walk away? And I think that that's an important one to remember. People were watching the videos. I don't think people really watch them anymore. And I don't think people really know or care anymore, because it's too painful and it's triggering. And the trauma we don't want that trauma revived. We're already still coping with hostages still in captivity, and how do we address it? And of course, the terrible, terrible politicization of everything, which is driving us all. Unfortunately, it's making us all weaker in our ability to stay strong. So really, thank you for sharing that story. I think there's a lot of lessons there for people to learn from. And we want to be able to give people many more opportunities to ask you and their own questions and to learn from your experience. So we again invite you to join us for our webinar with Warrior Mindset, and to share with us the questions that you'd like to ask. It's going to be a virtual gathering for the virtual citizens of Israel Global Community. So make sure that you're signed up, and we look forward to welcoming you. Itamar, my last thing to ask you before I let you go is there a song or a prayer that sticks with you this whole time, that gives you strength, that we can recommend to some of our listeners to go and find the song, learn the lyrics, or find the prayer and learn the bracha? What would be your recommendation to inspire them?
Wow, I think the last few months I was listening a lot to Idan Chaviv. You probably know it. He's a warrior, okay, and he's a singer also. And I was feeling really close to him because I know what he passed through. What happened today when I'm listening to his song. It's not like I was listening a few years ago. It's not the same, because now I can understand the words, because I feel like him. And he sing also in French and also in Hebrew and also in English. So it's nice. And yeah, go look for him.
I'm going to share with everybody. We're going to look for a good song and share the lyrics in all the languages, so that we can encourage people also around the world to be learning Hebrew. I think that that's also part of the education that went awry over the years, which is not emphasizing our connection through language and music and prayer and faith. And thank you for your continued faith and for everything you do. It is an honor. We really want to be able to support you and your unit and the big dreams that you have up ahead. Don't worry, everybody. You're going to be hearing a lot about Itamar and I working together on some incredible, incredible projects. We won't let the cat out of the bag just yet, but we hope that you will be, this is the spark of your first inspiration from this wonderful connection that God made, bringing Itamar and I together so that we could bring Warrior Mindset to you with Israel forever. Thank you so much for being with us, and stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lana. Thank you. The best.
Bye.
Bye.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.